Hello, and welcome back to the worst movie podcast in the world. This week, we're talking about a film that's nominated for the Oscars. With them coming up, we figured we'd tackle Banshees of Inisherin.
Ooh.
Now,
Well,
someone
thought about tackling it anyway.
yeah, because someone here has some explaining to do. Isn't that right, Decos? Because not for the first time, but for the second time in the history of the podcast, you have not watched the movie. You said you got a reason why. Please elaborate.
Well, had a long, hard day at work. I got home on yesterday, because it was the only time in the week I was able to watch it. And I sat down and I went, you know what? I can't be fucked to watch this film. I want to watch something I actually enjoy, so I can release the stress of the
But
day.
how do you know if you don't watch it?
Yeah,
So I gave up.
This is work.
And so instead, I watched Star Wars Clone Wars.
Oh my god! Oh my god! That's a poor answer.
For anyone who wonders.
So how far did you actually get in this film? Just so we know.
I don't remember anything.
Okay, so this is a two-man pod. All right, this is great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Cameron's not here this week. That's because he's a little camel whammer.
Blackout issues.
No blackout issue. There's no evidence of that. It's
no.
Cameron's a little camel whammer. He was
he's
like a little turtle on his back. He's like, I'm a camel. Can't get up.
God damn, right.
Absolute dog.
Banshees of Inisherin. What's everyone thinking, man? Well, we know what Decos thinking.
He said absolute dog.
Do you know how far you got though? Like at all?
No, I don't.
Like how long you watched?
What was
I honestly can't remember.
Is this
Why are you here, sir? Why are you here?
Represent.
Okay, fair enough.
Represent the community
what? People who have
the community of moviegoers who don't have enough time in their lives to watch stuff they don't.
You work at 9 to 5 like a regular person.
I work 8 till 5.
You have a movie podcast and it requires 2 hours of your time.
2 hours.
And I don't have 2 hours of a week to watch a film sometimes, and I think that's perfectly acceptable.
That's not acceptable.
That's not acceptable.
Alright,
there will be swift punishments.
Let's just go with let's go with Ryan then. Ryan, what do you think of this film? This was another one of your picks. Let's point that out again.
I say it is one of my picks. We're definitely not doing it because the Oscars are coming up this week, and this is the only British/Irish film that's nominated for any of them.
It's Irish, even worse.
What are you saying?
What?
It's Irish. It's even worse.
Oh, that is
Irish, but at the BAFTAs, it was in the British category.
Oh,
so much like Andy Murray, we can take it for our own.
Isn't that a bit awkward? Having an Irish film.
Depends whereabouts in Ireland.
The countries listed on a letterbox are Ireland and UK.
Mm.
Maybe some of it was filmed in the UK. Not 100% on that. But yeah, I think it's a solid black comedy. You see,
what is black comedy? I'm sorry.
A lot of people use black comedy,
dark humor.
comedy.
Yeah,
I say it's sort of used interchangeably.
Yeah, but it's always funny as dark humor. This film,
yeah, I feel like black comedy is more. The comedy is more bleak in it. There's sort of no. I mean, this is a film with no hope in it. It's just.
Is this a film
couple
where
of guys
you
on a shitty Irish island with literally nothing better to do than have a little bit of a row or talk shit about?
Yeah.
Is this one of those films where you think there's going to be hope and you wait and wait and wait? Then
yes, that's exactly what this is.
Yeah.
I mean,
fair enough. It's like Attack on Titan.
I quite enjoy. Well, the film is a peculiar one for me because there were elements that I really enjoyed, but there was also a lot of elements that I really disliked.
What's the other ones you don't like then?
Well, I don't know. We'll break it down a bit more like later on in the episode. I don't know where I sit with it, to be perfectly honest. Like there were sections that were really good, but as a whole, I can't say it's one of my favorite films that I've watched.
I will agree with that. It's not one of my. I think it's a good film, but it's not like. I don't think it should win an Oscar for the best screenplay in a year with as many films that are as strong. Like it's quite a strong year for films.
Was it one of those? Was it one of those films that were like made for the Oscars? It had that vibe.
Not really. I wouldn't say so.
Well, you see, I've said. I think I said this
before.
Well, I think I brought this up before. But one of the issues I have with this movie and the hype around it, and yes, it's at the Oscars and whatnot. I think I mentioned to you like before that I think sometimes there are some films that, when you take a place like the Oscars, the Oscars are just judged by critics, okay? And critics can have a very skewed opinion on movies.
You see,
and this, in my opinion, is a film that is for critics and not for a general audience.
You see, a lot of the films that critics tend to enjoy have like amazing cinematography, and then maybe the plot is like a bit weaker, or say some like historical, like some deeper meaning behind the film. So the film might be, like a 3 out of 10 film, but it's like a 10 out of 10 meaning, and they just love it. This film isn't particularly big on the meaning, or
this is the problem. I don't know what this film means at all. To be honest,
it's not big on the meaning. And it's not big on like great. I mean, it's well shot, but it's not like some fucking revelation.
Is it actually shot on an island, or is it CG? Because I was questioning some of the shots I was seeing where the backdrops looked quite digital.
Nah, okay. I think it is actually shot on. I'd assume it was shot on an island. Other than the bits in the background you're talking about, I'd assume are like the war going on in the background.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, that's probably CG. But I mean, it doesn't look. A lot of the shots of like the actual island itself don't look CG.
What award is this film nominated for again?
I believe
best screenplay.
I know it's nominated for best screenplay at the Oscars. I think it's also Colin Farrell. Yeah, Colin Farrell is nominated for a best actor.
Yeah.
Kerry Condon, his sister in this film, is nominated for
all of them.
Best Supporting Role Actress.
They're pretty much all of them.
Yeah, Best Music Score.
Basically.
Yeah, there's also supporting role as Best Actor in a Supporting Role for Brendan Gleeson. Best Original Screenplay. Best Achievement in Film Editing. Best Achievement in Directing.
So basically everything. So it's a critics film. So I stand by my point. I don't think it's a film that will get a lot of critical acclaim from the public. Because I don't really think it makes any sense.
Feel like one of those films.
You say that?
We should watch this again.
You say it won't get critical acclaim from the public. It sits at a 7.8 on IMDb and a 4.1 on Letterboxd.
That's only the Irish voting on that.
That's not that good though.
That's only the Irish.
Only the there's not that many of them.
Irish.
The famine, Joe. The blight. They haven't recovered.
Anyway, shall we move on to Logline?
I'd just like to briefly talk about In Bruges because it's a film where it's by the same director with the same.
I know that, and it's got the same cast as well. And I saw clips, and it looks like the same thing. This director carbon copy.
All of it is.
It is. It's the same thing. This movie is just an Irish version of the Bruges.
Instead of drinking Leif, they drink Guinness.
Yeah. So because if you hated this film, you'd hate everything else this director has made because it's all the same film basically. God knows. McDonough. He's Irish. Could you tell?
Martin McDonough.
McDonald.
So basically, moral of the story of you is avoid Irish directors.
Yeah, yeah. pretty much. Anyway,
Please don't hurt us,
shall we
IRA.
get onto the log lines?
No.
Log line showdown. Well, it's going to be limited log lines this week, but we shall.
But
make the
one
most.
thing to stay consistent, and that's that Cameron will still not have a
He'll
point.
have 0 point unless he imagine if he just appears now. It
With
just
the
shoots
most
us.
banging long line.
Yeah.
He appears for the log line, shoots the most perfect log line anyone has ever heard, and leaves.
Okay,
Uses
well, I
12
think to start this segment, we should just go to the first of all, the most obvious one. Decos, do you have a log line for us this week?
Yes.
Oh, remember, it's got to be at least
He's
3
getting
words
that
minimum.
participation trophy.
It's got to be at least 3 words minimum. All right. Okay, go. Shoot us.
Based on the first 20 minutes, not rememberable, not that good. You may like it if you're Irish, though. So, I'll leave it at that
Wow, fantastic.
before I get offensive.
We're going to get car bombed after that one.
The IRA's on your ass already.
Yeah.
All right,
Please,
nice.
I have
Ryan.
fun.
Well, actually, no. Actually, yes, we'll go with Ryan's because I've heard he's wrote a small paragraph for this. So, you might want to sit
this
back
is-
and relax for this one.
This is the longest
It's going to be
logline,
as
I think, so far.
boring as the film.
It may be.
It wasn't that boring.
It was boring.
Let's go.
Bleak. Okay. When Patrick makes an order at the butcher's for some sausages,
For fuck's sake.
Colm, local fiddle player and writer of the hit single Banshees of Inisherin, which spent 4 weeks #1 UK Top 40 in 1922, decides to fulfill his order. Unfortunately for Patrick, Colm is a right dumb feck and doesn't realise where sausages come from, wrongly thinking that his mammy calling his fingers fat little sausages was accurate, and so proceeds to make a terrible error that results in the end of his musical career, meaning the album, which most historians agree would have been shit, never released to the public.
God, jeez. They're getting longer and longer each week that we do it.
We should write these down somewhere and just make a book out of them.
Hey, you got a world build.
God, well, mine is not as extensive as that.
Oh,
Let me get mine up. Okay. Right. Dark, lifeless, and left me feeling like I'd been given a glass half full is not just how I would describe the Guinness that they were pouring, but in fact is what comes to mind after watching Banshees of Inisherin.
I wasn't up there.
fucking poetry.
God damn.
Poetry. That was beautiful.
Thank you. And there was a lot of bad
Anyway,
Guinness
I vote
in this
Ryan.
film. Oh, great. You really want to vote Ryan? Huh? You sure about that?
Do it for this whole fact of I feel like if I do it, he'll make the next one longer and the next one longer.
God, eventually we'll have half a script on our hand.
Unfortunately for you, Decos, I can't ignore the fact that Joe wrote actual poetry, and so I'm not voting for my own. I'm voting for his.
You can't vote for your own.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
so this
can't
is
vote
so
for your own.
Decos was the only vote that counted really, because I
Yeah.
kind of have to vote for Ryan here, because compared to Decos's, he had something there, but it means that this week the win will go to Ryan. So
No, I want to vote Joe. Joe's was poetry. I changed my mind.
I'm changing your
he
vote.
Joe.
changed his mind.
I'm changing my vote.
I mean, I'll
This is
take it.
Brexit.
I'll take it.
Does
Does that mean I win?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that does mean you.
I'm sorry,
Yes!
but here's one. What is the definition
I
of a
did
log
not vote
line?
for his. It was poetry. I thought he was
Yes.
going to vote for his own.
Okay, so does that mean I get the point?
Yes.
You do
All
get
right,
the
okay.
point.
So what's Cameron saying again? With the power of logline magic, I shall add the point.
The point's been
And we're
asked.
back.
The enthusiasm
Wow.
matches the theme.
Yeah,
of this
I'm
film.
going with a subtle Banshees of Inisherin tone for this
Thing
podcast.
is, though, I like Bleak and all that because I've watched Attack on Titan. That entire TV show.
Attack
But
on
that's
Titan
not
is not
bleak.
bleak.
Because that's
It is.
full of action.
No, it's 5 seasons of they're gonna get hope. They're gonna make it through just to be shot down and
It would be
destroyed.
bleak if it was fucking set in Leicester, but it's not.
Okay, all right. Anyway, so that's the end of that segment. Yeah, okay, just so everyone's aware,
If my aunt was my uncle, she'd be my uncle, but she's not.
the
Shut up.
point.
Yeah, and if the Queen had balls, she'd be the king.
Oh god. What?
What?
The points at the moment.
And if my grandma had wheels, she'd
God.
be a bike.
Okay, well we're moving on here. Ryan's got 2. Decos has 1. I now have 4, by the way, so I am like far in the lead for this prize.
Wait, I have one.
Yeah, you
It's a
have
sweet
1.
prize.
Oh, yeah.
And Cameron is still on 0. Okay, general
Next week.
discussion.
Can I have it next week, just so I'm like a bit more respectable against.
No.
Fuck you.
Right, general
What's your
discussion.
film if you want to win Logline Showdown?
I will watch the film because I'm deciding the film.
General discussion. Okay, what do we want to talk about? Actually, let's talk about what Decos knows first.
I know nothing. I can't. Honestly, I turned it off. I played Football Manager, and then watched the Clone Wars, and I can't remember a single thing about this film.
Well, see, because
I've been actually trying to think about it, and
I feel like you stopped like once it starts getting to like the more interesting parts. Like, do you know anything about the fact that Colin, or whatever his name is,
Colin.
is he chops off his fingers and throws them at the door? Yeah, see, it gets interesting about Midpoint and then veers off again.
Why did he chop off his finger?
Well, see, you would have known had you watched it.
Yeah, if you'd have watched the film, you'd know.
Which, by the way, I think let's raise this point first. I think that was the most interesting part of this movie.
Blame Cameron.
Is that Cameron here?
Yes, he's made a surprise.
He's here. Okay, Cameron's joined us. Everyone. Everyone clap for Cameron joining us halfway through. Well done. Cameron, we've just moved on to the general discussion part. So actually, I asked the question to Decos. He doesn't know anything. How much did you watch?
So through the Blackouts, I managed to watch I had like 30 minutes left of it. I got to the bit where the donkey died.
That's fair. Okay, no, that's solid because there's not really too much that happens after.
Yeah, I just had the bit where
solid.
That is entire life fell apart.
Do you have? Oh no, we've already done the log lines. So you're unable to participate.
You're still on bagel.
You're on nothing.
No. Let's see if you made one.
But yeah, let's hear your. He doesn't have one.
Okay.
He doesn't have one. He doesn't have one.
I mean, regardless of whether you did or not, you'd be on 0.
Oh no, did I miss the segment? Oh, that is too bad.
Alright, Cameron, I shall pass
Cameron, you're going to die on 0 points.
Yeah.
What? Potentially.
I'll never vote for a Cameron Logline as long as I live. Unless it's pretty good.
I will vote for Cameron if it's a political power move.
I caught the tail end of what Joe was saying there on... Like, it's kind of rough. At least in the beginning, I was just like, eh. But then, like, in the middle, I was like, oh, there's like fingers flying.
I feel like
what's going on?
I feel like you felt the same about it that I did.
And then I never got to the other bit because I know.
To me, it felt like a film where it was 2 hours of nothing happening, but it made it seem like so much was happening.
But there was fingers,
Decos you only watched 15 minutes. How can you quote on this?
Because I have to.
But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I think like about midway,
I'm not getting paid for this shit.
That's when it actually gets a bit interesting with the fingers. That did take me by surprise because I thought at that point, up until that point, it's kind of
is that
like
what you mean? Is
is
that the same scene as when you went in the chat saying, "Oh my god, the kebab scene"? Was that the kebab scene? Or are you talking about something completely
He was talking about a
different?
different movie. He was talking about a different movie.
Different movie. I probably would have watched that one.
I think the kitchen scene.
Oh.
Yummy.
Yeah. Essentially, Decos, what happens
is yummy.
Oh my!
I'm sorry.
God damn! God, Decos, damn it!
Yeah, sorry. Are you gonna finish?
No, I'm not. I give up.
I'll never know.
Does anybody have anything to say about this film?
You're not very good, though.
You
Okay,
keep talking over me,
God.
man.
I mean, I guess we talk a bit more about the old sausages, the fingers.
Yeah,
you know?
I was trying to
You
raise
just
a
kept
point about the
chopping them up.
goddamn fingers.
Was your logline actually what that scene's supposed to be with his fingers, or were you like taking a mic?
Does
have
he
to watch
cut
the
off any
movie.
more fingers?
He cut off.
afterwards?
Well, he cuts off.
So, okay,
I
No,
saw
you know what?
no,
Let's
no,
go
no.
back to the
One
beginning
hand.
because these two, Joe, we've not even outnumbered. We're just fucking out retarded.
I
Yeah.
had no
Goddamn
power.
Cameron the Decos.
I had
sitting there
no
not knowing what
power.
the film
It was
is.
Not by
Okay,
choice.
so for you,
You're supposed to.
for
You're
you,
not doing a very
this
good
is
job
for you.
explaining
Okay,
it.
this is for you coming into a goddamn movie podcast, having not seen the movie or not even going off and watching the trailer.
I'm pretty sure I've seen a trailer somewhere.
Ah!
I don't pay attention to things in
Okay.
trailers.
So, fucking Brendan Gleeson, Colm,
Who?
and Colin Farrell, who is the fat guy who played Mad-Eye Moody and the thin guy who was in the films that one time. Okay,
Yeah.
so fucking Mad-Eye Moody decides one day him and the other guy, they're friends. You know, they go down
Yeah.
the pub, they drink their Guinness.
House.
He one day decides he doesn't want to talk to him anymore. He's boring, and so just stops talking to him and stops being his friend. When
That's a bit mean.
yeah, it's a bit mean, but when you know
That's a
Colin
Decos
Farrell,
move,
he won't
That's a
leave him
classic
alone.
Decos
He
move.
starts threatening. He says, "I'll cut off my finger if you talk to me again." And then when Colin Farrell inevitably
Yeah.
talks to him again, he cuts off the finger and throws it at his door.
Which was actually like a surprise. Like until
Yeah.
the
Yeah, I didn't think
point
he'd
where
do
he
it.
cuts off the first finger, it's quite a light-hearted movie. It's just weird and very slow, but light-hearted. And then he not only
Yeah, you're
cuts
like,
off
is he
his
bluffing?
finger. He not only cuts off his finger, but the film shows he gets his finger, throws it at his door. You see the finger on the floor, and you just see his fingerless hand like pissing out with blood.
Yeah,
Like, it's so far off from what the movie's been so far.
and then there's a great bit in there as well where, because you know, of course, he goes out and finds the finger, and he like
Yeah.
picks it up, takes it inside, and it's like he puts it in a shoebox because it's like,
Yeah.
look at a frat
He
guy's
doesn't want to
finger.
get dirty. He doesn't
Yeah,
want to get
don't want
dirty.
getting dirty. You might wipe back.
Oh.
But it's just so like so strange.
So the bit where I had to stop watching it because obviously like power and stuff to
Oh, yeah.
join this was it genuinely got to the point where like his sister had left, like
Yeah.
the guy cut off all the fingers on one of his hands, like his donkey just died eating one of the fingers off the floor and choking
Yeah.
on it.
Which
Like, it
again
literally
is
reached the point
so
where it
weird.
got too depressing for me. I was like, I cannot actually handle this. Is getting too sad.
Okay,
I
so
just
shall
don't
we-
like
okay,
Animals in
so
the house as well.
I'd like to just give a quick run through of what happened at the end then for Cameron's sake, since he hasn't
Alright,
watched
yeah,
it.
hit me up.
So
Well,
after
Spoilers.
after
Yeah,
his
yeah.
after his so eventually Decos and Cameron, all right, he
Mm.
comes and he chops off numerous fingers, throws them at his door, and then
Mm.
he comes back and finds that his donkey has munched on one of them, you know,
Mm.
and therefore died.
Mm.
And very sad.
Wow.
Yeah, very sad. Donkey's dead.
It is
So
bad,
then,
it's sad.
after
I don't want
that
a donkey
point,
to die.
Cameron,
Yeah.
he actually like completely switches personality and becomes like this enraged man. Okay, and he goes into the bar. He confronts Colm. Is it Colm or Colm? I never
It's
really
Colm.
couldn't tell.
Like you know, like in Red Dead, Colm was just
delicious.
Okay, so he confronts him and literally just says to him, like unfazed, it's like, tomorrow at 2:00, I'm coming to your house, whether or not you're in it or not. As long as your dog's outside, I'm gonna burn your house to the ground, and just leaves. And the next day, he does exactly that. He goes to the house, sees Colm sitting inside, and just douses the house with like petrol and wood, and then just sets it ablaze. And then goes on this
Oh
like
my God.
psychotic trip back to his house, writing like, I thought it was a suicide note, And the way the film was going, I wouldn't have been surprised if it was. But you're at that point led to believe that he has become a murderer at this point and willingly done so. Because it's not like he's burnt the house expecting him not to be there. He's looked through the window, seen him sitting there, and carried on.
Just I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but then at the end, it's revealed that obviously the house is burnt to the ground. Actually, no, the house burns to the ground. Then that evening, the police officer, the abusive police officer, or in the morning, he sees the house that's been burnt, and you see him walking up to his house, and you think he's going to knock on the door, make an arrest, whatever. But then that weird old lady, which apparently I found out later, like she's like meant to be a ghost of some sort. I don't know. It's pretty weird. But she like deters the police officer from going up to his house and says that you need to go down to the river. And guess what? His son, okay, the one that tried to like ask to marry his sister and all that sort of stuff, he dies. He commits suicide in the river.
Well, that makes a lot of sense because
I know, but it's so I know, but it's so left field. He actually turns out that he jumps into the river and kills himself, and then the film ends. You find out that Colm is
earlier on.
Yeah, well, but then
going for a their life.
So he's dead, and the police officer then doesn't arrest the other guy, and then at the end of Patrick, and then at the end, all that happens is that you find out that Colm is alive still. He's just standing on the beach. Patrick goes to him. They have one more final discussion, like, yeah, this will never end. Like, we'll do this until one of us dies, and then the movie ends, and that is it. It is the most bizarre, weird set of events.
But tell me that isn't how anyone from the British Isles fights.
No!
You just keep going relentlessly until it just sort of ends.
But it's so weird how, like, the end of the film has little to do with the middle of the film, and the middle of the film has nothing really to do with the beginning. I can't place with everything that's going on. And to be honest, I have no fucking clue what this film is really truly about. I really don't know.
I have somewhat of an idea, and I believe sort of like the deeper themes at play. It's definitely depression. I mean, multiple times they talk about Colm, the reason he's cutting off his finger.
The whole thing with the sister and the war.
What happens when two guys break up?
Yeah, the war. Because of course, like the Irish Civil War was definitely
going. Like,
I don't know. Yeah,
she's going off to the city to go, I guess to the mainland to go be a librarian.
But will she not just die? There's a war going on there.
Well,
what's your hopes?
It's the Irish Civil War. I don't know everything about it, but
it was just.
What's your hopes and dreams? Going to the mainland to become a fucking librarian.
I know.
But it's sort of presented as basically a way out of his sort of.
My issue with this film was that
I get depression for Patrick.
My big issue
what's there from
was that this film was just kind of a whole lot of nothing. Like there was,
I think stuff happened.
Yeah, but
it's just too sad. I just felt too sad.
Yeah, it is a really depressing film.
No, but like I don't need it to be. I don't like it when especially recently with the cheesy Marvel comedy. I'm just not feeling it. But there's sad films, and then there's sad films like a man's donkey dying. Like I can't take it anymore.
Real donkey.
His goddamn donkey.
I literally couldn't take it anymore. I was like, I can't. I was always glad the power went out. Maybe I sliced the power cables to stop it. I don't
stop the pain.
Stop the pain.
Well,
I'm
glad your power cable's the only thing you slice.
That whole bit where it's like near the start, where it's like, I'm sad, my donkey's gonna stay inside.
Yeah.
With pure gold. Probably the funniest bit of the movie, and it's not like dark humor either. Yeah. It's just genuinely quite funny. This man loves his little donkey.
He loves a little donkey.
He doesn't love the little donkey.
He does love the little donkey.
The film, it's 100% about depression. Donkey. I mean, you've got
Everyone is depressed
You've got
on this island. Jesus Christ.
Patrick sort of dealing with being, alone. You've got Colm, who's trying to, I guess, create something great, and is sort of worried that he's going to die.
He has
without
a fear
having
that, without
anything.
having a legacy.
Yeah, and then there's also as well the fact, a couple of times they sort of mention it that maybe he's just chopping off his fingers because he's so fucking bored that it's something.
Yeah, because it doesn't phase him. Like, it doesn't phase him at all. He definitely is not meant to be a wild...
playing the fiddle. Like, no fingers.
Was it a fiddle? I thought it was a violin.
Did he go back and play it when he had no fit? When he
was like shaking
it? No.
He was like shaking it with one hand.
Yeah, because eventually, once he cuts off all of his fingers, and he feeds them to the donkey, he is sitting in the pub with his fiddle, but he's just basically at this point teaching everyone else his song that he's completed.
Right.
But it just doesn't why? I don't know. I don't know. Depressing movie. It really is. And there ain't too many bits that are quite funny.
It was set at a depressing time for Ireland.
Only on that island.
That's the point of the war.
There's nothing there. There's a bar, there's a pub, and that's it.
I think sort of sort of the deeper meaning as well was sort of asking
but
about.
But there a war?
Well,
how the fuck is that island?
It's actually technically better on the island than it might be off in the mainland.
Basically, Deco, it's part of time. I don't know exactly what
but if
kind of war.
If they're on an island,
it's a civil war.
How the fuck are they getting Guinness?
It's a civil war. It's got nothing to do.
I know. I understand. But how the fuck are they getting Guinness?
I really don't know. It was Guinness in bottles, and it looked terrible. I don't know, but it's all they did every day, and they were all alcoholics. Every night of the week, they were down the pub.
Why weren't they fighting?
Because
in the civil
war,
no, because the civil war isn't taking place on the island.
Yeah.
This is 1923.
Yeah.
It's not no one's fighting over Inisherin.
Yeah. And I think, to be honest, really, the only other point that I want to talk about is the fucking creepy old woman. And apparently, she's meant to represent an old folklore, ghost or something. She's not that's what the Banshee is. A Banshee is I don't know exactly, but I think it's a spirit that dwells around people that are going to die.
I have found this. So, Banshee is a anglicised term for. Okay, I'm gonna fuck it. It's probably Beansy, but that's not. Irish makes no sense.
What is it?
Beans.
It's probably means it's probably Banshee.
It does but mean Banshee, you melon.
It means woman of the fairy mound, or fairy woman. She's a spirit in Irish folklore who heralds the death of a family member, usually by screaming, wailing, shrieking, or keening.
So she's basically her presence is just meant to symbolise that everyone is gonna die. And
an omen of death.
People are gonna die because that's what the whole thing was, right?
Yeah, but then apparently this whole film is actually a ghost story, and that confused me even more. Is anything that's happening actually really happening, or is it just in these people's heads? I really don't know.
No, I think it is actually happening
because it's so fucking weird. Chopping off his goddamn fingers.
Chopping off all the fingers. I mean, he was committed. At least he wasn't tattling.
He was committed to the bit.
That scene with the dog, and the dog carries the shears out, and he just kind of grabs him and then locks the dog out. Bitch, he's a man.
He was just trying to be the best boy.
The best boy.
The best boy.
Is there anything else people want to touch up on from this movie?
Oh, about the beach.
The beach.
Right.
What about the
beach? It was named Ireland's best beach in a poll this year.
Wow, that is riveting information right there. God damn. Okay, well, I think we should move on. I think it's time to go to the scores. So at the moment, the only spaces with no movies in is D and the Void. Okay, and we have Chopping Mall C, Cranking B, Fight Club, Puss in Boots in A, Everything Everywhere S tier, Glass Onion is sitting at E tier, and Ant-Man Quantumania is sitting at F. So, we'll start with Decos, because he obviously is well versed in this film.
His opinion should be weighted.
So Decos,
how can Decos even give an opinion?
Well, this is what we're here to find out. Decos, where would you put this film?
I would put this film in the Void.
Okay, that's understandable.
And I'm going to do it based on the fact of I was able to finish the F-rated or whatever rated Ant-Man.
You didn't have a choice. You watched it in a cinema. You can't leave.
I could have left. I had a car. I could have left.
We would have physically held you down.
Held him down.
I went for a piss. I could have ran. I could have ran for my life.
Oh, he does have legs.
All right, so we've got one vote for the Void.
Not for long.
Ryan, where would you like to put this movie?
I would put this personally in.
Fuck off if it's higher than C.
I'd put it in B tier, I think.
Oh!
Maybe A tier, but
what?
Why?
Yeah.
Really? Are you dizzy?
That is okay. I want to hear the reasoning. That's a bold statement.
There isn't going to be a valid reason.
Nah, it'd be B tier. I'm sort of on like the verge between A and B, but I'd put it in B.
Why?
I just think it's just a solid like dark comedy. I mean,
I couldn't even get past 20 minutes and I can't remember a single thing.
Yes, but
what's B tier about that?
Because I actually enjoyed it. It's a good film. It's well acted.
All you told me is he chops off his fingers, a donkey dies, and a kid kills himself.
It's funny in kind of a fucked way. Like, deals with deeper issues like depression. Okay. It's just solid. It's just an enjoyable time, even if it's not enjoyable.
Okay.
You enjoy. I can't say this because we'll get cut.
No, so let's not then. Cameron.
Yeah.
Where would you put this film?
I saw 3/4 of the film.
Mm-hmm. That's good enough.
Yeah, and look, I at least from the bits I saw, I could tell. Like, to be fair, I was enjoying it a fair. I know I was just sad, but I got enjoyment out of it.
You can feel something.
I did feel something. I was taken aback by the whole figure thing. I liked the middle bit. It was going into the third act where it started getting really depressing. I was like, oh man, what's going on?
See,
it's not the donkey.
I reckon that's
even if I watched the film, I wouldn't
ramps up on the depression.
Have her choke on her finger, not the donkey. Come on.
Even if I actually watched more, I wouldn't have got past the third act because it would have been too depressing.
So, you know
what is your favourite film of all time, Deco?
Hey, let Cameron finish. Just get the score.
So we asking Deco's his favourite film. You know what? I'll put it in.
This in the previous video if the viewers want to listen.
I know. I can't be asked to go back. I'm talking over Cameron.
I'm going to do a high D because I was thinking about
D.
This is not worse than Chopping Ball, man.
Wait, is Chopping Ball in C?
Yeah.
Chopping Ball's in C.
All right. I'll tell you what. I'll put it in a low C then. There you go. Low C. Because to be fair, I might actually go back and watch the last quarter of it because I was kind of getting invested. So you know what? Yeah, C.
The last bit.
Actually, you know what? Put it above Chopping Ball for me.
Okay.
Well, we're not doing that anymore. It's too awkward to put it on the.
Yeah, I know.
I thought this film was okay. There were parts that I really enjoyed, like the finger chopping was good, and it was unexpected, and probably the best part about the movie. However, I think the start was quite slow, and the ending was just weird. And so I think that I would put it in C tier as well.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
So I am happy enough to put it around about the C tier.
Okay.
Because
Isn't that what?
yeah, it's good. It's not particularly great. I
Yeah.
prefer Crank than this film.
Yeah,
And Fight Club and Puss in Boots are also way better. So I can't.
Yeah.
I personally don't think it can go into a B. But I will put it in C. It's not terrible, but it's not like.
Yeah. Yeah, I get you.
So is everyone happy with that, Ryan?
And whilst I think it's a B film, I guess C. The consensus.
Yeah. All right. So, wait, Cameron, you can do the line.
With
Back
the
now.
power
No,
of
it's not done.
movie
It's not
magic.
done, you bastard. Done, you bastard.
You didn't even ask me if I'm happy with that.
You didn't watch it. You don't even know what the film is.
I'm so
anyway.
I do the line. And with the power of movie magic, someone else moved it.
Yes, it is in the C. It's in the C. It's in the C. So it's now on the same level as Chopping Mall. It is below Crank, Fight Club, Puss in Boots, and Everything Everywhere. But it is. We have voted it better than Glass Onion and Ant-Man Quantumania.
Whoa.
Oh. So yeah.
That seems about right.
Do you really rate this film higher than MODOK?
Yeah, MODOK was bad.
Yeah, it's not a hard question.
MODOK was bad. Okay, so
Think of those cheeks when you say that.
I think we should move on to the final segment, but I need Cameron's jingle.
Okay. I'll get the thing. Let me get my phone. Where is present already? I need to remember the whole thing.
What's to know?
Yeah, here it is. What's to know with Joe? Where we get to know what Joe wants to know. Joe, what do you want to know?
Beautiful. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Okay, so
I gives him the fizz.
okay, so in this film, we know the main premise is, two friends, then one of them decides he hates him, okay? And probably the most interesting part about the film was his ultimatum that he came up with. And he said, if you disturb me, I will cut off one of my fingers, okay? Which he then goes on to do. So my question is, if you hated somebody, okay, and you did not want them to speak to you again, what would you come up with to try and prevent them from ever speaking to you again? Let's go with Decos first.
I have a question first.
Yeah, Decos.
Okay. Question in the room.
Joe, did you say ultimatum or ultimato?
I said ultimatum. What does it matter? Is there a difference?
I mean, they mean the same thing, but
well, then that's fine.
Ultimato is you get the whole tomato or none of it.
Will you shut up?
What?
Right, Decos.
I admire the dedication to the bit.
What scenario would you come up with if you really didn't want somebody to speak to you ever again, like Colm did? What would you come up with?
I'm legally not allowed to answer that.
Why?
You know why.
Okay, Ryan, what would you do?
Oh, never wanted someone to speak to me again.
Mm-hmm. What would you do?
Start dissing Destiny.
No, go to Cameron. Go to Cameron. I got a thing.
My God. Okay, Cameron.
I'm going so.
All right, Cameron. What would you do?
That's a good question. I'm glad you want to know that, Joe. I'm trying to stall for time. It's a hard question. I'm trying to think what I would do.
Just something off the top of your head. I mean, he chopped off his fingers every single time
to keep him away. I guess. Well, I don't want to chop off my fingers. I guess I chop off their fingers. I feel like they get the message a lot quicker that way.
that may work. That may work. That may resolve the issue a lot quicker than what happened in the film. Okay, all right, Ryan, have you thought of one yet?
Of course.
Okay.
You see, if I didn't want someone to talk to me again, every single day of the week, I would send them via post a Blu-ray, DVD, and a VHS copy as well, in case they're still running on a legacy system.
Oh,
I'd send them a copy of Die Hard until they got the message to fuck off.
Okay. Decos, do you want another attempt? Or are you leaving it at that?
Well, I don't want someone to speak to me in real life, and they still do, so I'm not allowed to answer just in case they want.
maybe she start cutting off fingers, Cos. I mean,
Can I say that was my
They'll
alternate?
probably like me more.
like you more. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's all I wanted to know.
So that's it. Podcast is wrapping up. I wasn't here from the beginning, but thanks everyone for watching and listening. We've had I think we had at least an entertaining time.
It was a time.
Yeah,
a time. It was a time.
We simply had to keep people away from us. So please like, subscribe, leave a comment, because we've had comments now. And if you leave a comment and tell us what movie you want to watch,
and if the person who left that comment last week is watching this, maybe you should leave another.
Joe, don't be
leave
desperate.
another.
Don't be
Tell us.
desperate.
Anyway, yeah.
Please leave a comment.
Tell us what you want us to watch.
Please talk to us.
Hit the little bell icon. Subscribe. Do all of that.
We should talk about next week's movie.
Ford versus Ferrari.
No.
Or, as it's known in the UK, Le Mans 66. Starring Matt Damon and Christian Bale.
British
during the time
Christian Bale.
During the time where Ferrari were at the peak and pinnacle of motorsport, and this little American manufacturer of standard.
All right. Well, I'm bored. So
in this term of
motorsport.
Ferrari got bought out by Fiat.
Bye. Everyone say bye.